Okay, part three. When did you move from Toronto or Agincourt and go to Montreal?
Uh, we moved 1962 fall. Um, I spent the summer in Newcastle with my aunt Jessie, and my family stayed in Toronto. And then at the end of August, they moved down
How did you move? Did you
to
drive or
Montreal.
take a train?
Well, like I said, they drove, but I would have taken the train back because that's how I got back and forth. I
And
passed on the road.
did your dad work for CN?
Well, he worked with them. He worked for a government agency that was involved with the railways, so he got a free pass for himself and
What
his
was
family.
his primary job?
He worked with a company called the Canadian Car Demurrage Bureau, and what they did was they made sure that all the box cars and all the freight cars that were rented out were only rented out for the days that they were rented out for, and that the rent was paid, and that they were cleaned out when they were done. So they had to inspect the cars and know what the cargo was in each one, and know how much there was, and when it was going to get to its destination, when that box car, that freight car would be available for the next renter. That was their job. So they were government of Canada employees, but they worked with CN and CP
So did
via rail or something, except it
did
was
your
passing.
mother ever work at all?
After I was born, I don't think she was working. She was working for Standard Brands in Moncton when my dad was in the UK during the war.
What standard brands?
I don't know. Something I really don't know. She was the secretary or something. It was something to do with, but something I really don't know what it is. She's talking about it all the time, and I zone out. So I don't know what the company was.
Do you
I don't know what they did.
did you listen to Granny's stories or did you zone out all the time?
No, I listened to her stories. She talked about her family and stuff. And
Did
God,
she ever talk about her earliest memories?
did she talk about her earliest moments?
Memories.
What?
Memories.
Yeah, she's talked about this dog she had when she was a little girl, Laddie. He was a collie. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, memories of her sister and brothers.
Did she talk about World War I?
No, she was only 5 when World War I ended, so she didn't really have much memory of it other than hearing stories from her family and neighbors and friends.
Um. So, do you find that you're anything like your parents?
Yeah.
Was Grampy, was he like you in any way?
Well, he liked to read. I like to read. He liked history. I like history. He liked literature. I like literature. Um, he wanted me to get an education. He only had grade 8.
Was he
He,
was he easy to talk with?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, back in those days, your parents weren't your buddies. Like it was spare the rod and spoil the child. If I stepped out of line, I got the belt.
But when you were an adult, could you talk to him like normal?
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
way
He
the way
never.
we talk?
What?
The way we talk?
No, it's different. A different world there.
He didn't tell you about when he first hooked up with Granny?
No. Well, no, but I kind of know the story. They went to. They went. They were training to go overseas in the war, and he and some other fellows went to a dance in Sussex. They were stationed near there, and he met her there at the dance.
So if you hadn't met her at the dance, we wouldn't be here today.
That's right.
So the moral of the story is you gotta go do things. You can't just sit around and play video games.
Well, they're not gonna knock on your door and say, hey, "Would you like to get married?"
So
Although people do hook up on video games, I guess. I don't know.
so then you were involved with Expo '67, weren't you?
Yeah, I worked there. After I graduated from McGill, actually.
What was Expo '67?
It's the World's Fair, with
So where was it in '66?
67.
Yeah, where was it in '66?
It wasn't there. They were building it.
Oh, so but why was it the World's Fair?
So like an exposition where you got different, you know, countries show what they have, you know, what their country produces and stuff like that. It's a World's Fair. They've had them all over the world in different countries, and that was the first one in Canada.
Okay.
I worked there. I worked at the amusement park at the where you shoot out the star, and you win a big teddy bear. Or
So
something
is
like
this how you met Michelle?
that. No, I didn't meet her.
She didn't show up and play one of the games?
Well, she would have been about 14
Huh.
when I would have been 21. So no, but the girls used to get on the bus from the Sacred Heart Convent and flirt with me. And,
When they were like 6?
when they were like about 12, and I was like, yeah, and I was, okay, maybe 14, I was like 21, and I would think to myself, yeah, right, come back in, 10 years. 10 years later, I asked her, where'd you go to school? And she said, Sacred Heart Convent. I said, did you take the 105 along Sherbrooke? Oh, yeah, all the time. I said, I bet you any money you were one of those girls. I didn't say it out loud. I was thinking, yeah, right.
Why would she go to a Christian school?
She was a Christian.
But is that what people
Catholic.
normally did? They were Christians, so they went to Christian schools?
No, but Catholics had their own school system, and most Catholics went to it.
Like on PEI?
Yeah, it was big time here. There was Catholic schools and Protestant schools here up until the year I moved here. It was pretty well. Queen Charlotte was was Protestant, and Birchwood was Catholic.
Well, what was Englewood?
I don't know. I think Protestant.
I wouldn't have gone there.
Most people around there were Protestant, and the Catholics that lived in the area went to Kincora. They went to Kincora school.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, even if they lived in Crapo or something.
Even though it's the same religion.
Yeah, that's different. Well, I mean, then that's all changed today. But yeah, they had Catholic hospital and Protestant hospital. It was like Northern Ireland.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
So Mom went to this Catholic convent.
Convent school, yeah.
And is this where Pam and Stephanie went?
The nuns were
Did Pam and Stephanie go to these schools?
Yeah.
But Alec didn't, did he?
Well, he went to a school for boys. I think Selwyn House or something. I don't know. I don't know if it was a Catholic one. I think it was non-denominational.
Do you think that that's a good way to grow up, doing stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. You get a good education, but they can warp your mind. I think, if you're too impressionable, I don't think it warped your mother's mind.
But you didn't go to schools like this.
No. I wasn't Catholic. I went to a public school.
But you didn't go to Protestant school.
No, it wasn't Protestant. Well, in Montreal it was, like the Protestant School of Greater Montreal.
And why were your parents Protestants? Because their
Betty
parents?
Jane was Catholic. My cousin, went to the Catholic school, so I went to the Protestant
So why, like your parents were Protestant, right?
Yeah.
So they went, is this because their families were Protestant families?
Yeah.
So they just kept the Protestant thing going?
Anybody that wasn't Catholic went to the Protestant school board, so there were a lot of Jewish kids. There were Greek Orthodox.
In Protestant stuff?
Yeah.
They wouldn't go to Catholic?
The Jewish kids didn't go to the Catholic schools. They went to the Protestant schools.
Was it because Catholics would have kicked them out just like they do in countries?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why that is. It just was. That's all.
Is that why they invent stories about Catholic priests?
I don't know.
Is that why you didn't go to Catholic school?
No. I didn't go to Catholic school because I wasn't interested in being indoctrinated.
Wouldn't Jewish kids...
But it wasn't really my decision.
Wouldn't Jewish kids go to like synagogues with rabbis?
No, but some of them had their own, like, I forget what they call them, shul or whatever, that they would go to after school. They come to school and then they go off to this Jewish thing where they do maybe study the Torah, the Talmud, whatever it is, or learn some Hebrew,
So when did you...
Just some of them, most of them didn't.
Did you have any friends that were Jewish?
Yeah, a couple, Joe.
Was anybody a good friend?
Yeah, Joe Fogelman, pretty well my best friend.
And when did you meet him?
Louis Clark was a pretty good friend back in grade.
Where did you meet Joe Fogel?
Grade 11. Actually.
Where did you meet Joe Fogel?
I met him in my class. He was in my grade 11
Where?
class.
What city?
Montreal, West Hill.
What year?
1962 and 63.
Was he a class clown?
Yeah, you wouldn't like me saying that, but yeah, he was kind of. I wouldn't say class clown, but he was the class wag or card or,
What is that?
Well, he'd always have a smart remark back to the teacher, or, you know, in a funny kind of way, not in a challenging way, but just in a humorous way.
So, how long were you in Montreal for?
Montreal till 67, so 5 years. I finished high school. I went to McGill for 4 years.
So, what happened to Joe Fogelman after you went?
Well, he went to McGill too. We both went to McGill.
So
he took science, I took arts.
Were you friends with him there?
Oh yeah, good friends. Yeah. Hung out a lot. We'd go out and look for girls. We couldn't meet any. If we didn't get lucky, we'd go for pizza.
Okay.
And Joe, I think sometimes he'd say stuff like, you made a couple of girls. What do you think of premarital sex? And usually they'd slap in the face, and then we'd go for pizza. He figured if you, why wait around to find out, and then you don't get your pizza.
So either get a girl or get a pizza.
Yeah, one of the two. You can't. It's win-win.
Well, that's basically what I did.
Yeah, that's Joe's MO.
Back
in the day.
I had a girlfriend once. Well, girl. Say, if you're not coming over, I'm going to bed. And I'm like eating my pizza that was really yummy. And I was like, okay. So I was halfway finished, but I threw it and got in the car and got moving.
Oh, that's nice. I hope you delete that. And you put it up on YouTube.
But that pizza wasn't worth throwing away unless I had a sure thing going. Yeah. So
yeah, no, we hung out right through university.
So you didn't find out he was Jewish and then just not bother with him anymore.
I know he was Jewish. Half my class was Jewish.
So you weren't racist towards him.
No, well, why would I be? We were just, some of us were just kind of not part of the.
Well, people were anti-Semitic, so
yeah.
I guess maybe not in that school with all the Jews there.
Well, it's no guarantee, but yeah, for the most part, people were pretty accepting.
Yeah. So Joe Fogelman, you were with him in McGill till what year?
Well, we both graduated in 1967.
So then what happened?
We both worked at Expo.
Then what happened?
We chased girls around all summer.
But when did you and Joe Fogelman kind of go your different ways?
Well, let me think. I went to Toronto. I tried to get a job in Montreal.
What year?
67. I don't know if it was my French wasn't good enough or whatever, but I decided.
Wait, what month did you go to Toronto?
September.
So, isn't it funny to think that Maple Leafs haven't won a cup since you went back to Toronto?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So, were they bragging about winning the cup when you got back there in September?
I think the real curse was me when they made fun of me when I was a Ranger fan. Let's put the curse on them.
The Andy Bathgate curse.
Yeah.
Was Joe Fogelman?
Well, the irony of it was Andy Bathgate later was traded from the Rangers to the Leafs.
Oh, Jesus, you could have become a Leaf fan.
Yeah. But at that time I was a Montreal fan, hardcore.
Did Joe Fogelman like Montreal?
Oh yeah, he liked Montreal. Yeah.
So did he grow up in Canada and born here?
He was born in Poland. No, born in Israel. Born in Tel Aviv.
He was born in Israel.
Yeah, and his parents were Polish.
What year?
46, January 46. So he's only 3 months.
So did his family move there after the Holocaust, or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they moved there before the war was over.
Well, I don't know what his dad did, but his mother masqueraded as Catholic. A local family, I think they were in the country.
They masqueraded as Catholic.
Well, she didn't. She was fair. She was blonde, so she could pass for non-Jew.
So she wasn't Semitic.
No, not looking. And
she was Ashkenazi.
She went to mass with the Catholics, and they just assumed she was one of them. But eventually they found out she was Jewish, and she did go to a concentration camp. And according to her in the story, and I have no reason to doubt it, they lined up a bunch of them against a wall and shot every even number, and she was an odd number.
So
That's the story.
They
that
probably
she told
put
me.
black people every second person.
Well, I don't know, but that's the story that she told me. I have no reason to doubt it.
Yeah.
It's very believable.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, and after that,
So how many Palestinians died so that you could have a house in Israel?
I don't know, Jared. That's another question. Anyway,
Were Palestinians part of the German Nazis?
no,
No? Okay.
no.
Just making sure. So when did you went to Toronto in '67? So that's when you and Joe kind of went your own way.
Well, he went to Brock University.
Where's that?
That's in St. Catharines, Ontario. So it's only less than an hour drive.
So why did he go from McGill to there?
Well, he wanted to get his master's in science, I think physics. No, sorry, chemistry. So he went to Brock.
So he was really smart.
He went to Brock. Yeah. Joe's very smart. He was really good in math and science, but he was also good in languages too. He was really good in like French and Latin and stuff like that. He went to Brock, and we still hang out. Like he'd come up to Toronto for the weekend or whatever. And I was working.
Does he know Hebrew?
In Toronto? What's that?
Does he know Hebrew?
Yeah, I think he knows some. He knows 7 or 8 languages.
Does Joe have brothers and sisters?
Just one sister, Sandy. She was a couple of years younger.
Did you date her?
I tried. She shut me down, and Joe said, "Well, it's because you're my friend." And I said, "Yeah, I understand that. I like to think that." But,
Did you ever hit on his mother?
no, why would I do that?
Did you ever go to synagogue with him?
When he got married, I was best man. I wore a yarmulke.
When was that?
I think it was 72. I think it was like early 72. I
So
just got back from Europe, and I was surprised to find out that he was getting married.
did they kick the glass underneath the towel?
Kick the glass?
Isn't that how they get married in Jewish weddings?
They might have. I don't remember. I remember signing the book. I remember wearing the yarmulke. I remember they had a band, music. They did great food.
Did you get circumcised?
Who, me?
Yeah.
What? No. Why would I?
Oh, I just thought that's rabbis get in the mood for that sometimes during weddings.
Yeah, no. The rabbi didn't follow me around with a pair of scissors. I didn't convert. Remember, I'm not. I would never. I'm not a religious person.
Well,
at all.
then Joe Sullivan's sister wouldn't have any time for you.
She hung out with non-Jews too. She was pretty.
So were there a lot of Jews in Toronto or just in Montreal?
Well, I was in a neighborhood that was
Which neighborhood?
NDG, right on the border of a Jewish neighborhood. So I'd say
Where's
about
that?
a quarter to a third of the kids in the school were Jewish.
Were
And my
you-
classes.
Were you near Westmount?
Not too far from Westmount. Yeah, actually bordering on Westmount.
Isn't that where they all are?
No, they're not. Well, some of them are. They're really, really rich, but most Jews don't have that kind of money. Westmount's old money, JR. It's your old Anglo-Saxon and French aristocracy. They're quite anti-Semitic, really. So for the most part, there were some Jewish families in Westmount.
So did you need to know French to live in Montreal?
No, not really. Not in those days. I liked languages, and I didn't mind speaking French, but
Did Joe speak French?
yeah, he can handle himself in French. He can speak, like I said, he learned quite a few languages. He was good at languages.
So would you think Joe is a lot smarter than you are? He was good at sciences and
Depends
math
what you mean.
and knows all those languages.
He's definitely smarter in math and definitely smarter in science.
He seems like he's got a high IQ.
Yeah, he does. But
I have to. My phone is going to die, so we're gonna have to do part 4 later.